2020 saw the release of MiHoYo's Genshin Impact, and within a mere 2 weeks, the title became the most successful new IP by a Chinese developer. As a gacha-style action RPG that borrows its genius combat from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, it's no wonder why this game is so popular. With tons of characters and secret areas to be unlocked, and an intricate combat system that provides endless fun, Genshin Impact isn't a game that can be fully and easily enjoyed in just a short time. However, some truly committed players may have already built the teams they want and achieved everything that they feel the game has to offer. So, to any Genshin fans, here are some titles that will help scratch a similar itch. Hello everyone, welcome to Game Rant, my name is Geoffrey. In today's video, let's take a look at 10 of the best games to check out if you enjoy Genshin Impact. Number 10, Honkai Star Rail. The uninitiated might be tempted to dismiss Hoyo vs. new big free-to-play RPG as just sci-fi Genshin Impact, which would not be a terrible decision in and of itself. However, Honkai Star Rail is very much its own thing, while nevertheless sharing a few common traits with the developer's popular gacha game. It is also a follow-up to Honkai Impact 3rd, which was the fourth game in the Honkai series. Star Rail is set up to be the very first entry in the saga to fully blow up in the West in a way that might allow it to live alongside Genshin. Released in April 2023, the game casts players as the Traveler, a being with a spaceship and a crew. Honkai Star Rail's campaign is split across planets, each of which comes with a unique ecosystem, politics, missions, and enemies. Star Rail uses a dynamic turn-based combat system that is both flashy and smooth, so while not real-time like Genshin, battles are still a sight to behold. Number 9, Tower of Phantasy. When Tower of Phantasy debuted, the free-to-play MMORPG naturally attracted comparisons to Genshin Impact. After all, they are both gacha-driven anime RPGs with hack-and-slash combat. A player would be forgiven for assuming they are essentially the same game. While certainly cut from a similar cloth, Tower of Phantasy does enough to differentiate itself from its more famous contemporary. The sci-fi fantasy game allows players to create their own character, and they will then unlock new fighters called Simulacrum. The North American version currently has 15 playable characters, all of which have unique skills and preferences that set them apart. Rather than swapping between characters in combat, Tower of Phantasy focuses on weapons, allowing 3 items to be equipped at the same time. The combat system is flashy, fun, and accessible, while the open world is super lovely to explore. Number 8, Immortals Fenyx Rising. Just like Genshin Impact, Immortals Fenyx Rising was also compared heavily to Breath of the Wild when it was announced for the first time. The similarities are certainly evident, but that should be no excuse to write off this stellar title. Just like Genshin Impact, Immortals Fenyx Rising also deserves props for taking all of these inspirations from Nintendo's seminal open-world title and applying it in a manner that is unique for the title itself. It makes for a fun experience that doesn't overstay its welcome either. Number 7, Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. A free-to-play RPG, New Genesis is the updated version of 2012's Phantasy Star Online 2, a game that was originally released only in Japan. Similar to Genshin Impact, New Genesis is constantly evolving as a project, but the game has rock-solid fundamentals and doesn't lack in content. Although both titles take inspiration from anime, Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis's visual style has a tinge of realism to it as it leans heavily into sci-fi rather than pure fantasy territory. The combat system is fast, satisfying, and diverse. Players can pick from a range of classes that all feel pretty unique. While multiple playable characters are not an option, there are plenty of unique weapon types and playstyles. A post-launch update also made it possible for classes to use different weapons, enhancing the game's overall longevity. Number 6, Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom. Ni no Kuni is a series that deserves all the praise it gets as a charming and entertaining JRPG that will keep fans entertained for hours on end. This sequel to Wrath of the White Witch ended up improving on pretty much everything in the first game, making Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom an amazing experience that no fan of JRPG should miss out on in the slightest. It's also my personal favorite on this list. Its real-time combat should be especially enjoyable for fans of Genshin Impact. Number 5, Star Ocean: The Divine Force. Star Ocean is a storied RPG series, albeit one that has struggled somewhat over the last decade or so. 2016's integrity and faithlessness is generally regarded as one of the franchise's lowest points, and while its successor is by no means perfect, the Divine Force is a notable step in the right direction. As its name suggests, Tri-Ace's license focuses on sci-fi adventures, and the game all utilize real-time combat systems. Unlike Genshin Impact's more traditional hack-and-slash formula, Star Ocean allows players to map abilities and skills into 3 combo chains, which can then be executed out in battle. Although initially shallow, the gameplay expands significantly as players unlock new skills through a pretty robust progression system. The Divine Force is not an open-world game by any stretch of the imagination, but the campaign generally consists of large, open-ish areas that do have a fantasy aesthetic to them. Number 4. Dragon Quest XI: Echoes of an Elusive Age. It would be impossible to talk about JRPGs without mentioning the legendary Dragon Quest series. While the popularity of this IP in the West might have been muted for the longest time, Dragon Quest XI: Echoes of an Elusive Age ended up altering this notion to quite an extent. All of a sudden, the Dragon Quest series leaped into the mainstream as one of the greatest franchises around. Echoes of an Elusive Age features a lovable cast of characters and some truly enjoyable combat that turns the game into an incredibly entertaining romp from start to end. Number 3. Ys 8: Lacrimosa of Dana. Even if the studio's games have not experienced the same level of commercial success as Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest in the West, Nihon Falcom has been steadily crafting some of the best action RPGs of the last couple of decades. While not the most recent entry in the franchise, Ys 8: Lacrimosa of Dana is the best pick for Genshin Impact fans, or anyone remotely interested in hack-and-slash JRPGs. The game delivers fantastic fast-paced combat, a party system that allows characters to be swapped on the fly, and takes place on a large fantasy-themed island shrouded in mystery. Each playable character has their own style, skills, strengths, and weaknesses, and they come together to craft a battle system that is simultaneously accessible and deep. Number 2. Tales of Arise. Bandai Namco's Tales franchise has been a reliable source of above-average action JRPGs way back since the 1990s, and Tales of Arise stands alongside Symphonia and Vesperia as some of the license's best work. While it does not include a gacha feature, Tales of Arise should satisfy Genshin Impact players looking for story-driven RPGs with frantic and varied combat. Once Tales of Arise's party members are all unlocked and start to accumulate arts, players will find themselves spoiled for choice in how they set up their team. The game's story is also gripping and tackles mature themes in a satisfying and intelligent way. While Tales of Arise takes its narrative very seriously, the campaign knows when to slow things down for a lighthearted bout of banter. Number 1. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom is a massive step up from Breath of the Wild, which is insanely impressive on its own. Nintendo absolutely knocked it out of the park with the sequel, giving players a larger Hyrule to explore while simultaneously giving them access to an array of new abilities and the power to piece together Zonai devices, which act much like vehicle and tool parts, to create practically anything they can think of. With new and returning characters and an interesting look at the land of Hyrule during its beginnings, Tears of the Kingdom is one of the best titles that was released in 2023. And there we have it, 10 of the best games to check out right now if you're a fan of Genshin Impact. Thank you so much for watching this video from Game Rant. Have a truly wonderful and happy day. See you in the next video. Bye bye.